Shobhita, I'm really glad you're here because without you, this is a manel. It's just men talking. And also, like, I'm really glad that...
Nobody would have taken up pictures also. Can I share something? Yes, very interesting, because there are a lot of people from the industry and media aware. So I was in London very quickly, and we were promoting Slumdog Millionaire. So I was sitting with a team of Pathe. And he says, kya hai? Even if the President Obama, if he comes alone, there won't be so many photo ops. He might be on the second or third page, but if he comes with his wife, there'll be, it'll be a front page news. So, हमने बोला यार photo तो आनी चाहिए सब जगह, छवि तक आना बहुत ज़रूरी है. And she speaks so well, even Michelle speaks so well. So over to you, our
no
Michelle.
Pressure.
Shobhita, I'm glad you exist, because what you've done to the landscape is that you play a lot of South Indian characters. Here, your name is Kaveri in this. So also you embrace your accent, and here you play a woman with mystery, right? There's so little we get into her real self, because she says, I don't want to see anyone, I don't want anyone to see me cry. So how did you approach this? How do you create mystery about this character who the audience is not supposed to know too much about, but slowly discover who she is? Because you get very little footage, and in that you need to like capture it. So how do you approach this as an actor and your whole persona, real life persona, becoming the character?
Good afternoon, everyone. This is such an august gathering, so many intelligent people, and with my team saying all these nice things about me, I'm absolutely terrified about sounding like an idiot. I mean, Kaveri is a river in the south, but I don't think that has any connection to me playing someone from south in this. It's not tied up. I think the connection with the name has more to do with water and what it represents. Water can be still, but it can be very deep, and so often the currents can change from day to night. Like her life is very turbulent, much like water, but there's also it's serene. So we thought there was an interesting parallel, and I really liked the name. I thought it represents her quite beautifully. As for I don't look at characters in terms of how much footage they have. I don't think it's the most significant thing at all. In the larger arc of the character, there are a lot of answers. Answers should not be given, they should be arrived at, is what I feel. And I feel like with her character, we know and we see as much as we need to. And sometimes you want to lean a little bit closer to hear her better, to know what lies simmering beneath the surface. And I think that's really nice writing. So I didn't feel the need for more. It was enough. And I don't think mystery is created. I think when you say as much as you have to, and I guess it's not a blabbering character, so it was easy to retain that. And much credit to the way it was written, the way it was shot, and the way the primary characters interact with her. So how you are with me is very different from how you are with your partner, your parent, your friend. But the minute like one sees you in all these perspectives, they get a better understanding of who you are, right? But if Kaveri is seen only from the perspective of her lover, her partner, and from this special creature, you don't really know her from any other perspective. So maybe holding back is what gives her that mystery.
So in these workshops, I'm very curious to see how did you crack the characters in the course of this workshop in terms of interpersonal relationships between the characters. Like, for example, between you and Aditya, how did you say, what is the level of bromance that you would have? Like, was that part of the workshop? Was it part of the script? How did you arrive at like a chemistry? Because it's about you're the antagonist, he's the protagonist, and you both needed to have a chemistry because the relationship is again interestingly phrased as Ravan and Vibhishan. So it's almost like he could have been your brother, right? So how do actors interpret that sort of chemistry from the script and like say, this is how we're going to do it? How much intimacy is the right chemistry?
I think horses for courses. I mean, I don't think there's any one right way. I think the way that Sandeep approached, I think Anil sir's and my equation on screen is I don't think we met at all. Yeah. I think he preferred it for us to just get there on set. And of course, I think Anil sir and me were I was fortunate enough to work with Anil sir on Malang, so we had worked before. And I think that's why Sandeep felt confident enough that we had that professional understanding was already there, and that it might have been better for the characters to just kind of meet in the moment, right, Sandeep?
I think the way we approached it is like it's a boxing match. There are two boxers, and both need to prepare individually. So AK sir and we would prepare his whole world of friends, family. So AK sir would have his workshop with Shobita, with Dada, Saswata. While his workshop was the only little thing which we did. Of course, we had moments with the girl,
Just a little bit with Safina.
with Safina, and a very little with Nasir, with Tilotama.
With Tilotama, yeah.
So the idea was it was preparation of two different worlds, and then see them both explode when they both meet. You know, both don't know what the other's prepping for. You know, so it's theoretically beautiful. I hope it works on screen and it looks good.
I think one thing that was also interesting was that we ended up workshopping a couple of sticky scenes, stuff that we were not so sure of. That I think we really benefited from the workshop process by going in there and exploring those scenes. And it helps so much when you're not on the clock and the whole world doesn't depend on that working on that day. And that's one learning that I had, that, I mean, it's all very well to workshop, but it's important to know how to workshop. And I think that's something that I learned from Sandeep on this, because we were able to explore scenes uninhibited and finally, at least if not find it, get closer to the answer after those experiences.
So your character has no reason to hate him, right? But his character has enough history, like, because he knows what you did. But you have no reason, at least in the first 4 episodes, to hate his character. Your character has no reason. So you're obviously there's a certain warmth with which you're approaching the role. You're not treating him like an outsider in the first place. You're in fact doing the opposite. You are like including him more and more into the family. So how does it work? Like, because you know that your character has done something extremely horrible to him because you've read the script. And yet, on screen, the audience shouldn't be aware of the history. You should let him into your life. You should be welcoming. How did you plan that out? Because he's not going to give you back your positivity, because his character is not going to allow him to give that positivity back.
He's given 2 mics to Shobita. Sandeep, he's always been very partial. When he hugs her for quite a few minutes. With me, he just shakes his hand. We're given 2 mics also, huh? You know, I think my mind was there. Obviously, you know, this character, Sharadurungta, is a gambler. He goes with instinct, and he trusts people, but still trusts them easily. And the way I imagine, वो किसी को मिलता है, किसी को देखता है और बोलता है यार इसमें कुछ बात है. There is something about it, and that's what I am in real life also, to a certain extent, which I could relate to. That if I've gone wrong also, I've been betrayed. You know, everybody's betrayed. You know, most of the time you're right in your instincts of people, but sometimes you go wrong. So I feel, and as you said, that I've read the script, but overall when you go on the set, you don't remember the entire script. You are going, stay in the moment. And the scene given, and you know, you can't remember 7 hours of the entire script, you know. It's there at the back of the mind, but you forget about it and you're in the moment. So that's the reason I'm warm, because I feel इसमें बात है कुछ जो है, you know, ultimately. So that's the reason that I'm nice to him, and I was not feeling any kind of it's a gambler's instinct. ये यार ये काम का आदमी है, और वो बाद में काम का नहीं निकलता, वो बाद में पता चलेगा. But till that time I know that this is younger, and he trusts him. He trusts his girlfriend also. But धीरे धीरे पता चलता है कि सब गड़बड़ कर रहे हैं, you know. And this is what happens. Yeah. Why did you do this to me? Yeah? Why
money,
did you?
money. It's all about money.
Huh? Just because I don't have 6 packs, huh?
So that you have.
Huh? Huh?
And it's not
Don't
just
do this. Huh? Next season, I'm going to have 6 packs. So I want you back.
And it's not a single point of betrayal. I think there are 2 betrayers here. Here's betrayer number 2 we haven't seen much of yet.
See, so far there's been nothing of the sort if you look at it. So I think no spoilers.
But you are
Still,
infiltrating.
there are scenes in the first part also where little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit. ऐसा मत करो यार.
Okay, just to like move away from spoiler territory, I want to go back to what I
Oh,
was.
there's no spoilers at all.
The betrayal part could be perceived by some
But yes,
people.
of course, yeah.
Yeah,
Why not?
Yeah.
Betrayed. You saw they were
Yeah,
near
he
the
is
pool,
trying to
near the pool
infiltrate
side.
the
They are
room.
there. आंखों में बातें हो रही हैं.
Yeah,
What is that?
absolutely.
आंखों में बातें.
Representation, that's what I wanted. That's the first.
Sorry, यार.
No,
Little
that's
life में थोड़ा fun होना बहुत जरूरी है.
absolutely.
Can't take everything very seriously.
Yes, yes.
Am I right?
Yeah.
Friends, can't make it very. Sorry.
Shobita, you forgot to, you missed that part of the question, I think, when I asked you about representation mattering, like because your identity. Do you think it's important to have your identity on screen? Like, is it relevant? Because in India, we have different cultures, right? We have so many different languages. The language changes every 100 kilometers in this country. And so when we are, so that's why I'm glad that your accent exists. And you've not made any attempt to change the way you speak, or it's like I like the fact that it is South Indian, right? Like because I'm from Chennai, I feel represented when you're there. So I wanted to talk to you about that. Like in terms of representation, is this like a conscious part of like being part of your brand, that you need to be this person authentic to your identity?
Have you heard of Tenali Raman?
Yeah.
So Tenali is a place, it exists. I'm from there.
Oh, okay.
I grew up in Vizag. I speak Telugu at home. I think in Telugu. I moved to Mumbai after my high school, and I speak Hindi now. It's been a good 13, 14 years in Mumbai. Another whatever. So my life, so I don't know where home is. And we are all products of the experiences we've had, but we are also products of the experiences we aspire to have. So I don't think any person represents one fixed thing. You are not just Chennai. You're also this guy sitting in Powai in a suit asking me a question. And it's very separate from the reality of North Madras. So Arey, don't clap and all, yeah. I just feel...
I told you all.
Even I said it. I said it first.
These guys.
That's why she's got 2 mics, you know.
So I just feel that identity is porous. There are no boundaries. It's not defined. Who I was a couple of years ago is very, very different from the person I am now. And I'm pretty positive. I would be fortunate if I am a different person to some extent in some time to come. And it means that I'm interacting with life with an open heart, and I'm absorbing whatever's good, and I'm changing with the times. And as for characters, as a child watching cinema, I watched Telugu cinema, I watched Tamil cinema, I watched Hindi cinema, and all I remember was performances that reached the heart, jokes that landed. I didn't even speak Hindi when I was a child. So I don't think representation necessarily, it should not be taken out of context. I'm genuinely very, very interested in submitting to a larger story that touches the heart. There are films, silent films with no language. I don't know what they're representing, except the truth of human emotions, right? There's fantasy films. I love Harry Potter. What are they representing? I don't know. So I think films, characters should represent sentiments, should represent feelings, our past and the future we aspire to have. Identity should not be a fixed entity.
I now want to talk about.
Explain to me what you've spoken. Please, huh?
With subtitles.
Very layered it was. Sorry.
That's okay, sir. Like, this is your stage. You are the boss.
Not at all.
But I'm very curious because I know a lot of people, I'm sure even you would have been curious, with the decision to release 4 episodes at one point and then 4 episodes the other. Is this for dramatic reasons, business reasons? What was the thinking behind this? Like, what were you holding back for months? You could answer from your point of view too.
I'm not the boss. I want to prove it. He's the boss.
I think one of the things which I always say is what is great about the world of OTTs is that you get an audience which can come to it when they want, but the trouble is also overfeeding. I feel there are some stories which are sagas, and this I feel is a saga. It's set across 5 years of a character's life who transforms and enters in the person's life, and it's a turmoil, and there's so much coming up, especially in part 2. I thought you should feel the fact that you lived the life with him, and to do it over just a period of a night's binge might have done some injustice to it. So we wanted to split it. The timing of it, we left it to our masters, our friends at Disney Hotstar, and we'll soon tell you when does the second part come out. That's a promise.
So, in terms of adaptation, the Hindi dialogue writing, at what point does that come in? Because screenplay is Sridhar writes it, and then you have 2 other dialogue writers for this. So, are the actors, are the dialogues written for Indian actors? Because Sir has a persona, so do you write it for Anil Kapoor? Do you write it for Aditya Kapoor? Do you write the dialogues to suit the personas of these stars? Because they're not just actors, they're stars, and stars are known for certain traits and characteristics. People come to watch to enjoy those characteristics and traits, as opposed to actors who are going to be breaking the mold every time. So, dialogue writing in adaptation, how much do you adapt to the star persona? Because India is crazy about stars, and it's no secret. Like, we know that unless there is a star, you can't sell a story.
I think, yes, it's a recipe, but it's a recipe for disaster. If you start writing dialogues for the actors who are going to play it, I think the thing is, when you take the same material and I ask Aditya to do the part or ask AK to do the part, the same lines will feel different. And what the joy of working and interpretation of different actors is a simple word or a line can be read in a dramatic way, you know, and it can change meaning, which as writers and filmmakers, we ourselves have not felt it while writing. And something which we felt, "Kya ye to bahut jabardast line hai," might feel very light with someone else. So I think the idea was to think of the character and try to write from where the character comes from and their point of view to life. And then each one of them brought the way they interpret, the layers that came through. Like, I know we spoke about, Shobita spoke so eloquently about representation. But the fact that despite her not saying anything more, you felt it is because of the interpretation which she brought to it, right? Some other actor would have brought a different representation to it for you. So for me, the individuality comes from the actors and how they read it, how they perform it eventually. Yeah.
Can I add to this? You see, I feel, I think we were casted not as stars in this film. I feel very, very strongly. I say we were casted as we suited the roles. We were casted as actors. Like when I did Wo Saat Din, or I did Mashal, or I did all the films which I did earlier, Karma, or the Mr. India, you know, all the lines, even when I did Slumdog.
Yeah. Or AK versus AK.
AK versus AK. Yeah, because, you know, they all were written with some other actors in the mind, you know. So, matter of fact, I've seen to it that when I feel that something is written with me in mind, most of the time I don't do that film.
Okay.
Because it looks repeated, it looks fake, and at least obviously there'll always be, as I said, for every actor or anyone, there's always some personality, you know, and the way he is will come in that character. Every actor, no matter if it is Robert De Niro or it is Al Pacino, the greatest actors. But there will be something about them. Their personal things which will be there, which we don't know because we don't know them personally. But most of the times, I feel the scripts which have come to me in the last more than 4 decades, I've seen to it that they are something which I've never done. Lines which I've never spoken. That's what attracts me. If I find something which I feel मैं ये कर चुका हूँ, most of the time I pass that film. At least I've tried to do that. And sometimes it's been very detrimental to my career, to my star image. कि यार तू इतना बड़ा स्टार है, ये रोल कर रहा है. When I was doing Ishwar, I had lines of successful films, but I did Ishwar. When I did AK versus AK, I think all the actors called me and said, how could you do this role? Where most of the time I am talking about my failures, that I'm not a star, I'm finished.
You're roasting yourself.
No, it's not. People don't understand that. There's very few niche people understand that he's roasting himself, but there is most of the audience will feel, ये क्या हो गया, पागल हो गया लगता. You know, we imagine him as the Mr. India, we imagine him as the Lakhan, we imagine him, you know, whatever he is. But that's the journey I have taken. And even I feel every actor in this, it might be Saswata Chatterjee, or it is Aditya, or it is Shobita, or Tilotma, or Ravi Behel, they all were casted because somewhere we felt that they suited the role. There's something about them, and you've never seen them doing something like that. I think that's the success of Night Manager. That's the reason I think somewhere people have connected with this show, and it's become, you know, people have liked the first part, and hopefully they will like the second part even more. And so that's the thing. So I don't think so. Pata nahi ye kaun, there were so many actors were doing it earlier also. You know, I don't want to get into that. And it came to us. Hamari kismat mein tha ye, and we did it. You know. Am I right, sir? Absolutely.
Aditya, you want to add to that because you want to be a star, right? You don't want to be a star. You have star aspirations, right?
I mean, you just want to keep doing good work that more and more people see, and good films. Yeah, so I mean, the aspiration is to do as much good work that you can do, watched by as wide an audience, and if that brings stardom, then so be it. Yeah, yeah.
But you look at yourself as an actor first, not a star.
I mean, I approach everything from the point of view where I try and service the character as truthfully as I can, and that I don't look at it as how I should be doing it, or I don't look at it the other way around in terms of, oh, this is what people will expect of me, let me give them what they have seen and liked and appreciated. Let me give them a little more of that. That is a recipe for disaster, because there are only so many tricks you have in your bag as, you know, as myself. And I don't want to become a parody of myself. That's not the idea. The idea is to keep stretching yourself and trying to do things that you haven't done before. in ways that you haven't done before. So yeah, I would like to approach everything first as an actor, and if stardom happens, that is a welcome byproduct.
That's great.
Bonus. See, because when you start your career, you're not, at least I can talk about myself, that you say, काम मिल जाए यार, कोई role दे दे यार, कुछ काम दे दे यार, you know. And you're so grateful to the filmmaker and director, at least he's giving me work. Then you do the character, and the characters become very popular. If actors feel that they have become very popular, then they're delusional. That is one of the reasons, I think, which is very important for youngsters to understand, that ultimately it's the characters, it's the writers, the team, what do they see on screen. That's make them what they are.